This video is help for BB10, solve by completing the square. So here we're given our standard form. I want you to notice that this time our example has a not equal to 1. Still, our first step is going to be to move over our constant. We're going to do that by adding 3 to both sides. So now we have 3x squared plus 21x equals 3. Now it's really important that we make sure that we take out our a first before completing the square. So let's factor out a 3 here on the left hand side, and that'll give us an x squared plus 7x. I'm going to leave space so I can complete the square. As we talked about in the last video, our c will always be positive, because regardless if we're squaring a positive number or a negative number, it will be positive. Now, remember when we're completing the square, we're looking at our b, and we're taking 1/2 of b and squaring it. So here that means we're doing 7/2 squared, or 3.5 squared, which will give us 12.25. You can check that in a calculator. So we've got our 12.25 that we are adding here on the left hand side. Now we have to see how we can balance that. We've now added something to the left hand side. We have to do the same thing to both sides of the equations. But I want you to notice that acting on this 12.25 is that 3. That 3 is being distributed into that 12.25, so we are really adding 36.75, which we got by doing 3 times 12.25. So here we're going to balance it with that 36.75. We now have maintained the equilibrium of this problem. Now that we've completed the square, let's put it in the factored form. So we get 3x plus 1/2 of the b, or 3.5 squared. We can also get that from this piece right here, equals 39.75, just by combining our like terms. Now, we have 3 times something that's squared equals a number. Our goal is to get the something squared by itself, so we first have to get rid of this 3. We're going to do that by dividing by 3. So we have x plus 3.5 squared equals, in the calculator that's going to give us 13.25. So now we have isolated what's being squared, and to get rid of our square, we're going to perform the inverse operation by square rooting both sides. So we now just have x plus 3.5 equals, plus or minus, in the calculator, if we round to the nearest hundredth, that's going to give us 3.64. Our last step to isolate our x is to go ahead and subtract our 3.5 on both sides. Good, we still got space. X equals negative 3.5 plus 3.64, and x equals negative 3.5 minus 3.64, and that's taking into account that plus and minus. So x equals 0.14, and x equals negative 7.14. Make sure you round to the nearest hundredth. This is again help for BB10, solve by completing the square. Good luck, guys.